All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 297 of the Restoring Rapport podcast. Super excited for the content we got planned out for you guys today. As always, this is a podcast for young believers who are pursuing the goal of marriage and family and trying to get married as young as possible in a healthy way. I'm your host, Seth Hensley. I come on twice a week, every week on Thursday and Sunday to discuss not only the benefits of getting married young, but I attempt to equip and encourage you in your pursuit of that goal. And today I am preparing myself to be triggered because we are going to be reviewing basically a video on how I think you should not date. And so this is a video that was put out on the So Far So Good podcast by Jess and Gabriel Conte, which, by the way, I think they're awesome people and they do a lot of really good stuff. But they're interviewing somebody on the show today and they're rating her exes that she's had in the past and basically ranking them and to see who's the best ex she had in the past. And kind of naturally, I'm going to be skeptical of this because they're just basically going to list out all the failed relationships that this woman has had and basically talk about who was the best, which to me says, okay, if they were good, then why did you break up with him? And so I guess I'm just like, I don't know. This is going to be funny though, and hopefully we'll see a lot of things that I think you should not do in the dating relationship. So in what dating, I think there are some things I think dating should be and some things I think dating shouldn't be. And today we're going to watch a video where I think there's going to be a lot of things that I think dating should not be. And so this is going to be fun. So I hope you guys enjoy. Definitely check out Jess and Gabe if you haven't already. And the So Far So Good podcast. But without further ado, let's get into it.
So
True. Go
So,
off.
fight me.
going in first is Flower.
I need to
We came
remember
up with
what
these
these
nicknames last night, and
Yes.
they're awesome.
flower. Oh,
Flower. Okay. How
the middle school dream.
did you meet?
So it looks like she's kind of like
Church. This was like an eighth grade little.
given these boys code names so that she's not actually revealing their real identity, which that's good, I guess. But still, let's see kind of, I don't think you should have like 9 boyfriends. I think if you have 9 boyfriends, you're doing something wrong. And so I'm curious to see what her reasoning is for ending these relationships.
Like I would walk by at church, and at first I was like, I thought it was like a
Boys are
weird
dumb. Yeah.
thing, so I just like would run away. And then we went to 6, 7, 8 camp. We went to
Middle school
camp,
church camp, baby.
and
Things
you
got
know,
pretty serious.
Things got pretty serious.
And the rest.
By pretty serious, she means not very serious at all, because I think I heard the word middle school thrown in there. So, I mean, obviously at middle school age, I think you should definitely be looking for, spheres where you can find prospects for marriage, but I don't think you're many times going to be able to maintain that into the season where it's actually time for you to get married. So let's see what else she says.
Not a super memorable boy.
Yikes.
Do you
But
remember
true.
anything about him?
Nope.
Okay.
I remember his older siblings.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're off to a
That's
really
about
good
it.
start.
So true.
Why did you end things?
This will be good.
Literally not a single clue.
So far, he's number 5 for me.
Wait, is 5 the best?
Worst.
Okay, wait. She just said she ended the relationship for the reason, quote, I have no clue, end quote. That's kind of wild to me. And I know she's in middle school, but I'm sorry, if you have that attitude when it comes to dating, you don't need to be dating. That's just a heartbreak game. You're not doing anything meaningful. You're basically coming into the relationship with nothing that you need to have in order to do so in a healthy way. And so why are you doing it at all? That was my initial reaction. So this is a middle school. This is a prime example right here. The girl you see on your screen, by the way, is a prime example of what you should not be like in middle school and what you should not, how you should not approach dating. And again, I think getting married young is great. And I think you can start looking for your partner super young. And again, I think a great time to get married is 18 to 21. That's a great age to get married, I think. So you need to be looking prior to that, obviously, not just starting to look at that time, but you need to come into it not with an attitude of we'll see if this works out, but with an attitude of I'm in this for the long haul and I'm not going to leave. And you need to match my interest, investment, and commitment level, or I'm not going to go any further into this romantic relationship with you.
Story.
Okay.
But I don't know how much of it I should
Yeah,
share.
just as much
Vague.
detail or not detail.
So we lived in the same neighborhood. And when we were like kids, our parents were very like anti, don't date when like you're not which now looking back, I'm like so valid. Like,
Yeah.
why would I
No
have
kidding.
had a boyfriend at 14? Like that
Yeah.
doesn't seem like there's a point. But basically,
Well, her parents probably told her that because this girl is clearly somebody that does not need to be in a relationship. If she ended her previous relationship for the reason of, quote, I have no idea, end quote. I mean, if I had somebody leave me and give me that reason, that's enough to make me hate womankind right there. Because if I come into the relationship for, good reasons, like I'm in this for the long haul, I'm committed, I'm invested, and then I'm under the impression that you're the same, and then you bail for the reason that, quote, I have no idea, end quote, I would be furious. I would be heartbroken. That'd be really bad. And again, guys, this is something I harp on over and over on the show, but like, please don't enter a romantic relationship until you're confident that the person you're with can match your interest, investment, commitment level, values, desire for marriage, all the big things. Because if they can't match you there, you're basically signing up for heartbreak, right? Because the only way that ends is in a mismatched relationship when one person is more invested than the other, is in one person getting hurt, right? And so, gosh, just don't do it.
I was like, what? Like, I'm 14. Yeah.
I'm mature.
I'm literally 14 and I'm like ready to get married tomorrow. So like, why can't I have a boyfriend?
Yeah. Same.
That is so relatable.
Yeah. So what we would do is, because we lived on this, was that sarcastic? Oh, I was like, it kind of is. Like, I can't tell.
No, I mean, it is when you get into like,
When you're 14, you
Yeah.
just think you know everything.
No, 100%. I was like, I'm literally a full grown adult.
Yeah.
What are you guys talking
I didn't think I knew everything at 14. So this is just a different kind of 14-year-old. This is the kind of 14-year-old that should not be getting married young. Okay? There are 14-year-olds that can be moving towards the goal of marriage in a healthy way, and then there are 14-year-olds like this who, quite frankly, are lost.
I'm 14. We live in the same neighborhood.
Trying to get
and
married.
Obviously, we are not old enough to drive yet.
Yeah.
So we were like,
Classic.
let's bike to meet up in the neighborhood. Hence, training wheels.
Training wheels.
nice.
So yeah, we biked and we like met up and just like literally would sit and talk. And then we had our first kiss, and it was really cute. I still fond memories. Like,
Yeah.
I think he's great. He's still like a part of my friend group, but I don't see him that often.
Okay, I'm sorry, that's kind of crazy. I don't think it's good to just make memories with people. People aren't designed to be memory machines in the context of a romantic relationship. Romantic relationships are designed to go the long haul and last forever. They're not designed to be things that you learn from. And so I don't think this is it. But again, she's super young at this point, and these aren't really real relationships. This is just her kind of hanging out with boys. So I guess it's just whatever. I don't know. This gets into the whole debate of how much should children be allowed to date and how much will I allow my children to date and what will that look like. And I'm a public school teacher. I see a lot of crushing going on, and I have like 700 kids, and I see a lot of crushes going on between them all. And of course, they're elementary level. They're very young kids. But part of me likes it because it's like it needs to be normal for them to understand that it's normal for boys and girls to find each other and enter romantic relationships. But at the same time, it's also like it can't just be like date whoever you want, however you want, because these kids are so young. They don't understand how dating works. They're not ready. They're not mature. They don't understand how it's supposed to function. They don't know the end goal or any of the risks or anything. And so it's like, well, it can't just be a free for all. So I don't know what the solution is. I'm just kind of thinking out loud to you guys right now. Be sure to let me know what you think the solution is to that, by the way.
Remember having a least favorite thing?
I guess my least favorite thing was, if we're going to be really real.
Oh.
Well, just, are you fine with saying that, like, you were riding your bike to meet him and mom and dad didn't know?
Oh, yeah.
Sophie was sneaking out.
That was fully, if any of you don't know, I was the black sheep of the family.
She was a little rebel over here.
Yeah, I was the little crazy girl. And I would...
But I don't...
Sophie, the girl they're interviewing, is Gabe's sister, by the way.
say I'm going on a bike ride, and we would just bike ride to meet up with each other.
But did he know that mom and dad didn't know?
Oh, yeah, his parents didn't know either.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, it was like
Sneaky.
a collective sneak out
yeah, so that's like
situation.
my least favorite part of the situation.
Okay,
Is
yeah,
that it was
I
a little
agree.
sneaky behind the back action.
Yeah, anytime you're sneaking from your parents, guys, that's probably not a good idea. Let's just be real here. If you're hiding what you're doing, there's probably a bad reason for that. Things don't tend to succeed when they're kept in the dark. There's no good reason, I don't think, for keeping things like this in the dark. Anytime you're hiding your romantic relationship for somebody for whatever reason at any stage in life, not a good idea. So again, this is just an immature child here, basically having a rebellious, action season, whatever you want to call it, and doing something like this. Again, I don't think this is totally not what I mean when I talk about preparing for marriage young so that you can get married while you're still young. This is exactly what I don't mean. This woman is treating dating boys, like ice cream flavors, and she's basically walking into Baskin Robbins and sampling 30 of them to see how they taste. That's literally what she's doing. She's like, I don't know what flavor I want to actually buy, so let me just go in here and practice for divorce by getting to know these guys on a romantic level and then breaking them up with them one by one for the reason that, quote, I have no idea, end quote. I mean, that's wild.
Oh, I didn't even know this.
Toward the end, when we were like more 16, like I was driving at this point. I honestly don't remember exactly why. It was actually after the Key Biscayne trip. I was like sleeping in Claudio and Maddie's room with them, and I talked to like Maddie about it, and I was like, I just don't think like he's the right one, and it's just like really sad and like whatever. I don't exactly remember the reasons why.
You just doubted.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't think.
Okay, I just don't think he's the right one. Sweetheart, that's a question that you should have answered prior to entering a dating relationship, in my opinion. You don't start dating somebody, in my opinion, until you know whether or not you can stick around until marriage for the long haul, for the rest of your life, in other words. And so if there's hesitancy in your mind there when you think, man, do I really want to spend the rest of my life with this person? Maybe don't enter a committed relationship. Maybe just stay friends and keep hanging out, because then you're not overcommitting. You're not, getting too invested in something in a relationship that you can't back up. Right. And so I think what this Sofia girl should do is she should not. And again, at this time, she's 16, so she's a little bit older. The older you get, the harder I start grading these kids on their dating philosophy, because this is not it. Entering a relationship to find out, quote unquote, whether or not somebody is the one God has for you, I think is a stupid, unwise decision. You find out first, you start dating second. It's common sense, guys. You don't buy something, you don't enter into a serious contract in order to decide whether or not that is something that you want to stick to for the rest of your life. And again, marriage is not a purchase. Marriage is not just a contract, but it is a good analogy here. You don't do something serious without knowing the repercussions of your actions and whether or not you can stick around.
Anything.
He's always been nice to me.
Yeah, he's always so nice.
Yeah.
You met him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Babe, you're forgetting that we
Did you see her face?
I feel like you guys have met most of these people, except for like the middle school guy.
We've met 3 out of the 5.
Oh,
haven't I?
So there's the number. She's had 5 boyfriends. I think that's way too many. Just saying. You got 5 boyfriends. To me, that says you've got 5 failures. Because every boyfriend that doesn't end up marrying you, I think is a failed relationship. Some people will disagree with me on that and say, no, it was a learning curve. It was a learning opportunity. She learned so much from that relationship. Relationships aren't for learning. You learn when you're a child. You date to get married. That's my dating philosophy. So if you disagree, this show's probably not for you.
You idiot.
Okay,
Yes,
how
yes.
did you and Mary Kate meet?
Church.
Church?
3 for 3.
Have you met every single one? Oh, no. One.
We'll
I
get
don't
to
remember,
that.
but we'll get to it.
Church.
But church, this was a different church. The first 2 were the same church. This one was
New
a little,
church.
was a new church.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the day that you guys met?
If there's one thing about me, it's that I have memory loss.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite and least favorite thing about Mary Kate?
He was pretty funny.
Okay.
Okay.
Least
favorite, he was an actual elder.
Yeah, a little bit older.
Yeah.
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 He was my age.
Yeah, which
And-
like at the time I didn't think was that weird.
Well, also, if it happened now, it wouldn't be that weird.
yeah.
Like,
Yes.
if you met someone, you're 22. If you met someone who was 28,
Whatever.
whatever, not too weird.
Now
Yeah.
you're in your 20s. I feel like it doesn't really
After
matter.
you're in your 20s, it's fine. But when we met,
You were
I was 17.
And he was 24.
He was either 23 or 24, something around there.
But
Which
to be clear, you guys didn't like.
Okay,
start dating
I'm
right
sorry.
until you
Did she discover this after starting to date him? Like, there's a disconnect here for me. Like, you don't learn someone's age. You don't learn the age gap, after you start dating somebody. That's very basic information. She entered this relationship with this guy knowing that age gap was there, knowing that he was however many, like 7 years older than her. Like, if you're not okay with that, don't do it, sweetheart. This is basic decision making, guys. You think before you make a choice. You think about the consequences of that choice. If you don't want to be in a relationship with an age gap like that, don't start dating the man. Like, this is not rocket science. Am I the only one who thinks this is wild? And I recognize I get a little triggered with non-committal people who basically treat relationships like ice cream samples. But guys, this is just crazy to me. Can people not think ahead?
Why did you?
I think it was
This is a prime example of not thinking about the consequences before you make a decision.
He was like 25 or 26 and I was 19.
Yeah.
And he was like stage of life, like ready to get married and like have kids. And I was like, I am a kid.
Yeah.
So
Then why start dating?
that's what we're
That's
not going to
funny.
do. But yeah, I
Oh
think.
gosh, like okay, she just acknowledged there. Okay, I'm sorry. If you don't want to get married, if you're not in a season where you're ready to get married, if you're not moving towards the goal of marriage, why the heck are you dating? Because you're just bold-faced admitting that your relationship's going to end in breakup. If it's not going to end in marriage, it's going to end in breakup, guys. It's going to end in devastation. If it's not going to end in lasting marriage. There's only two options. Either your relationship goes the long haul or it doesn't. So if you're saying I'm not ready for the long haul, you're saying I'm just ready for a ball of flames to engulf this relationship here. And to enter it anyway, to me, is just crazy.
I think I like training wheels more
I
than
do
Mary
too.
Kate.
I
do too,
agree.
to be honest.
But okay.
I think I've had a better experience, nicer experience. With
That was
training wheels.
another huge thing of like why we broke up was that like he didn't like being around people. Mm-hmm. Like,
Was he really introverted?
yes, but like not at first. Like it was one of those things where like at first everything was so fun and so great. He was down for whatever. And then toward like he just completely changed. And I was like, why don't you want to hang out with my family?
Yeah.
Because that for me, like I can understand if you have like an awful family.
Yeah.
Why like your significant other wouldn't want to hang out with them. But like our family's so great.
Our family's
Our family's a good freaking time.
like if we were
And
ranking
you-
families, ours would be 5.
I do think it's a bit of a red
like, if
flag
you
as far as
disagree,
partners go if they don't want to hang out with your family. But again, the theme that you guys are getting through this episode is that's information she had access to prior to entering a relationship with this man. It's not like he changed suddenly. I know people can change, but like if you're not
Well, listen.
10 million% confident in your partner's ability to connect with your family well, don't start dating them.
That time of my life.
It's not, there's this idea going around that people change after you start dating them. And no, that's not the case. They're showing you the best version of themselves on these dates when you're first getting to know them. And it's your job to be able to discern what the problems are going to be in the relationship. You have to be confident in your partner in order to enter a dating relationship. If you're not confident, like 100% confident, unless you have no doubts whatsoever, I wouldn't enter the relationship. That's all that's happened here. She's entered a bunch of relationships with these guys in a romantic context, having no confidence in their ability to check these major boxes.
Pretty much everyone else is like,
Screams and yells. And like,
Yeah.
I can be a hoot on this podcast. as
oh,
well.
you're a hoot.
But
Oh, let me tell you something.
He is a
You're
hoot.
yeah,
So
thanks,
I'm,
Jess.
I'm just saying, like, in his defense, I totally understand going into an in-laws family situation.
in which the family is
Personality
Like a little insane.
Yeah.
And I totally understand that because our family is crazy. Like we're actually crazy. But the difference
Everyone's
is
family's
though
crazy.
is that you came from like a more introverted, quiet, mellow environment.
Yeah.
Whereas like he was fully like Hispanic. Like he was more so like used to that a little bit.
Yeah, I
Probably
understand.
not as much as us, but like he was definitely
just
like
didn't
more
wanna-
extroverted. He just like didn't want to be around our family.
Again, this is one reason you should get your marriage prospect around your family a lot prior to entering the relationship, because you want to know how they interact with your family, and they're not going to be able to fake it for 50 visits. So guys, if you've got a friend or if you've got somebody that you're interested in moving towards the goal of marriage with, and they don't, you need to have them involved with your family. You need to be having them over for dinner with your family, having sibling dates where they go out and not sibling dates, but sibling days where this potential prospect that you're interested in goes out and hangs out with you and your siblings, hangs out with you and your parents, hangs out with everybody in your family, and so that you can see how they interact with one another, because they're not going to be able to hide their ability to connect with your family in those moments. They're gonna show them their true selves in those moments, and it's based on how they show their true selves that you can make a judgment on whether or not you want to enter the relationship. This girl just went ahead and pulled the trigger without even aiming, without even finding out if this guy could interact with her family or not.
Like mutual friends, like a friend group basically.
Okay.
Nice.
What is your favorite and least favorite thing about them?
He's like super selfless, like very much
Wonderful.
looks at other people before he
Doesn't
ever
sound
looks
like
at
a guy you
himself.
should have broken up
Okay.
with.
Least
entered a
fave.
relationship with if you can't stick around.
Sorry.
Sounds like a good man that she's broken his heart here.
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm misreading this in any way.
Also because like he's the one that's like most still around, like
Yeah,
literally.
yeah.
So it's like I know somebody's gonna show him this.
Okay, cool. So since he's going to be seeing this, everyone, what is your least favorite thing about him?
Hey, checkmate.
You know who you are.
Least favorite thing, probably him being pretty introverted too.
Like it didn't fully mesh with your personality.
I feel like in certain aspects it did, but like
Again,
I feel like
did
I'm
you
just
discover
super
that
drawn
after you
now.
started dating magically,
I
or
feel like
could
things
you have
changed as
figured
I
that
got
out
older,
prior to
and now
entering
I'm
the
like,
committed
oh, that's
relationship
somebody
with
who just,
checkmate here?
have
Like,
fun with all the time.
gosh,
Like,
man.
that we'll just be laughing
it's
all the
like
time.
people just jump off the cliff and then
Yeah, I
start
think
thinking
naturally I'm
as
drawn
they
to really
fall.
chill
Holy
people, but then
cow.
once I, like, start,
I don't want to do this.
like,
This guy
dating
doesn't
them,
have the stuff I'm looking like. Why don't you look
I'm a little
first?
bored.
Look before you
That's not a
leap
bad thing.
is a wise adage for a reason.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not, you know.
No, yeah. I think just for me, that was my least favorite thing.
Yeah, it's not you.
It's not you.
It's her.
It's me.
Exactly.
It's for sure.
Yeah.
It's actually God.
Yeah, okay, that's what they all say. I'm so tired of God being used as an excuse to get people out of messes that they put themselves in. You don't just jump off of a cliff and say, "Yes, let's start dating. I know nothing important about you. I know I don't really know anything about you that I need to know in order to pursue the goal of marriage with you, but let's just do it anyway, because at any time I can use the cop out of, oh, God doesn't want me in this relationship anymore." Like, sheesh, friends. Don't use God that way. If using the Lord's name in vain was ever, done, it's in that kind of situation. Like, gosh, man, don't use God to make your decision to leave a relationship sound holy. Okay? Most of the time, people leave relationships for crappy reasons. Sometimes they leave them for good reasons, like if their spouse cheats on them, if there's adultery, if there's infidelity, if their spouse, does something very, very seriously wrong, or there's been some active deceit on the side of their marriage prospect. But most of the time, relationships don't end for those reasons. Most of the time, they end over trivial nonsense because people haven't thought before they took the step into a committed relationship.
Sage.
You love the chase.
Because you love the chase.
I love the chase.
For those of you
So
just
true.
listening on audio, Jess just looked at me and did like a little smirk. She was like, "You love the chase," and then looked at me and was like,
Yeah. She's a pursuer.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Because she,
Let's
DM'd
rewind
first.
a little bit
That's
and
true,
see
that's
why
true,
she
that's
broke
true.
up
But
with
then-
that guy.
like,
Quit
Yeah, it was
playing
definitely,
games
like-
with my heart.
yeah. Because this one was the most recent of all of them.
Yes.
We just fit so much better as friends. I'll basically leave it a little more vague.
Great, then don't start dating.
We worked very great as friends, so we would always like start talking again. But then it was like he didn't want to be friends, and I was like,
Well,
"Yeah, I like the attention."
gosh, yeah, he probably doesn't want to be friends. Sweetheart, let me blow your mind real quick. Maybe when he once says he wants to date you, he's not looking for a female friend. Maybe he's looking for a wife. Isn't that a crazy idea? Like, when did dating become this way of figuring out if someone was a friend or a spouse? That's crazy. You figure that out first, and then you ask them to date you, so that you don't have to deal with all this crap afterwards. Because yeah, once you break up, you can't go back to friends, in my opinion, because emotional lines have been crossed at that point. Things have been done either physically or things have been said that crossed emotional boundaries. A communication of intent towards marriage was given on both parties, and one person leaves and says, never mind, changed my mind. Like, oh man, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that he doesn't want to be your friend, Sophia.
That you give me when we're not just friends, but I don't actually want to date you, which was like awful on my part.
How dare you?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it
At
was
least
really
she
not
sees it.
okay.
Really
How dare
common
you.
though. It's so easy to fall into that trap.
Totally is, but
Like, just to be clear here, I'm not saying if somebody's a good person, you should date them, or that you should feel bad turning them down. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying you shouldn't start dating them if you can't follow through with it. Okay, so if you have an awesome person here that is not only a follower of Jesus but has done some serious work in figuring out what they want in a marriage prospect, and they're seriously pursuing you as their potential marriage partner, Don't get their hopes up. Don't enter relationships with these people just to find out whether or not they're a good match. First, you find out whether or not they're a good match, and then you stick to it. You say what you mean what you say, and you enter into the relationship confident in your ability to stick around and your partners. That's how a good marriage, a good relationship works.
But like,
Quit
yeah, it was
playing
definitely
games
like
with my heart.
Well said, Gabe. Well sung.
singing
With
great.
my heart.
Yeah.
With my heart.
Oh, he's
People
such,
are clicking.
he's
Yeah.
such a corn dog.
I should have known from the
So-
start.
With
Not
my,
Yeah, let's go.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know what that song is.
You just
At least
needed to
these
stay
people
friends.
know how to
Yeah,
have
we
fun.
just
That's
needed to
good.
stay friends, but we never could.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to be just friends.
And again, I'm nothing against these people in particular. I love Jess and Gabe. I think they're awesome. It's just that Gabe's sister is triggering me because of the reasons she's entered these relationships.
You love the chase.
I love the chase.
For those of you just
true.
listening on audio, Jess just looked at me and did like a little smirk. She was like, "You love the chase," and then looked at me and was like,
Yeah, she's a pursuer
Yeah.
Whoa.
because she DM'd you first.
I
Oh,
did.
that's true. But then Daddy took the reins. You know what I mean?
Oh God, I almost just threw up in my mouth. I literally vomited. That was crazy. Trigger
Okay.
warning.
You're welcome.
There's throw up.
Let's talk about
The throw
checkmate
up
because
isn't
I
what's
think
triggering
he's
me.
probably the one that we know
The most.
the
Yeah.
most.
What's
Yeah.
your guys' favorite and least favorite thing about checkmate?
My favorite thing was that when we played basketball, I could beat him. I'm kidding. I don't. I mean, he was fun.
Right?
Like, I mean, we were friends, so he was like,
Yeah.
Cool.
My favorite, I didn't know him too well, but he was very polite. Every time I saw him, he would always say hi to me.
Green flag.
You know, very like polite guy.
No, he's genuinely like such a good person.
yeah. He was
And
a
that's why
great
it was
hang.
like like that's why it was so hard for me to end it and why it went on for so long. Because I would
gosh.
always go back and forth.
Oh,
Because I was
gosh.
like, why don't I like him?
Yeah.
Like why can't I date?
Okay,
like,
does
he's-
anybody else raise your hand in the room if you see a problem with starting to date a good man and then going further and further into the relationship when you're not sure whether or not you're going to marry him? I see a problem with that. Okay, and same thing for the girls. If guys do the same thing, I would be just as triggered by them, and sadly they often do. So I'm kind of talking to guys and girls here. If you and she even said that she felt bad for basically ditching this good man. And having extended this relationship over such a long period of time and essentially wasted his time because she left him even though he was looking for a spouse relationship with her. And so, gosh, guys, I just look before you leap, man. That's gonna be the title of this episode probably. Look before you leap. Look before you leap.
Okay, let's rank.
Why treating dating like ice cream doesn't work? That's a good title.
He might be 5. I think he's the best person.
yeah. Well, I'd put him at a 5 because this next one, I never met him.
Right.
Tab him at a 5.
At a
Bookmark
5, so we have a 1, 2, 3,
3
and a 5.
Yeah, and I'm thinking 3 is about to bounce up.
Ooh,
Ooh, okay.
a little bouncy,
But
bouncy.
we'll see.
Okay.
The next one, Pilot Pete.
Pilot Pete.
Pete.
How did you meet Pilot Pete?
This one's a fun story. I love this story.
Bro, Dad coming in clutch.
Yeah, so my
Another
dad,
one.
this one, I was a little bit older. Yeah, I definitely was. Dad just became a pilot. So my dad decided randomly that he was going to go to pilot school and become a pilot. And then he didn't tell any of us and basically surprised us at this dinner. And so we all had to go to this dinner. We had no idea what the surprise was. But he told us, he basically announced that he had just become a pilot.
So he basically like put together a ceremony for himself.
But which
we
is
also-
the most
a very my
iconic
dad-
dad move
Yes.
That's funny.
he's ever made. Yeah,
And it was also like big.
yeah, no,
Was
it
it?
was our family from Miami came up. It was like a whole thing.
Like
Friends.
everyone, like Jess and I FaceTimed from where were we?
Australia.
Australia at the time.
It was
Our
a big
cousins
deal.
from Atlanta FaceTimed in. Like it was, and no one
Everyone.
knew what was going on, but it was like, there's a huge
funny.
deal is happening.
So-
we like were
oh,
trying
that's
to
good. Somebody's
guess. I was
pregnant.
like,
That's probably
our
about
mom
that.
and dad like adopting kids.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was like so confused. And yeah, so it was like this huge deal. Also, to make you realize how huge it was, he rented out the same space that we rented out for your guys' wedding reception
Yes.
in Florida. The same like room.
I mean,
he rented it out.
To be honest, the level of importance was almost equal.
It basically was. It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
Can I
Not
just say
quite.
that this would be such a Michael Scott
Still really
scene?
cool.
Oh my gosh,
So-
completely.
So the way Jess and I were talking one day, and then Jess was like, "You know what? Your dad is like Michael Scott if Michael Scott became a Christian, and it's like actually the most
And like
accurate
Hispanic.
thing.
Yes.
Hispanic Christian version of Michael Scott.
Yes, exactly.
But there are just so many
funny.
like moments that happen that I'm like, this should have been filmed and documented.
Long story short, my dad put on this big ceremony to announce to us that he became a pilot.
Yes.
And when we got there, we were all so confused because it's all close friends and family, and then this table of random people that none of us have ever met before. Come to find out, it's all his pilot friends from the school. He like invited some of them.
Well, his friends and all the people who taught him.
Who helped teach him. Yeah. He like invited them all, and they're all like in suits. Like this was like fancy. Like I was wearing a silk dress. Like we were told to like dress up for this event.
This is just so funny.
Oh my gosh.
So
This is
dad's
the
like
funniest
giving
thing.
his speech, and I was the one on a group FaceTime call with Gabby and Jess and the cousins from Atlanta and all these people. And Maddie, our other sister-in-law, was on FaceTime as well. And so my dad he's up there like giving his speech, and he has all the people that helped him become a pilot.
I'm really
standing
curious
in a
to
row
figure out
behind
how
him
she
that he
pulls a
can
guy out of
individually,
this.
like,
This is a really winding story. We haven't met the guy yet.
one of them out like telling the story of like how they helped him like achieve his dream. And
Sick.
Maddie like texts me. I don't remember exactly how the interaction went, but Maddie like texts me. She's like, "Are any of those like pilots cute or whatever?"
Oh, it was one of
And
them.
because most of them were
Maybe.
young, like they were not my dad's age. They were all like young guys, whatever. She was like, "Are any of the guys cute?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll zoom up on one right now." And so on the group FaceTime call, nobody else knew why I was doing it. It was just Maddie, and I just like pointed the phone in like one direction. And so I like show Maddie this guy I thought was cute, whatever. We end up talking after this dinner thing, and turns out he was like a missionary pilot and like helped bring like resources to the Bahamas after like the big hurricane disaster that happened over there. He was like doing 2 trips a day to the Bahamas to bring stuff.
He's a good guy.
Yes, like good guy, like all this stuff. And I was like,
Wait,
oh my
5-star though?
God.
Run. She has a habit of dumping good guys. It sounds like, buddy,
my gosh,
run. Run.
That's so like
Slay.
selfless and like good for you.
What is this,
Guys,
number
I
5?
used
I
another
think number
word.
So
5.
pick me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so true. Yeah.
Okay. So did you guys talk to each other that night?
We talked to each other that night. I think we like maybe got each other's Instagrams or something.
Okay.
And then we were kind of like going back and forth, like texting for a couple of days. And then I think he like wanted to FaceTime. And I was like, okay. So then we FaceTime, and like the vibes were off. Like it was, I really hope he's not listening to this. I feel like he won't.
No.
But I just want to kind of go in on this one because this one I'm the least connected to.
Yeah,
Okay,
Like
yeah,
we
yeah.
literally
Won't see each other.
we'll probably never see each other again. It was like he was being like weirdly like aggressive's the wrong word, but like basically like almost trying to like argue with me about stuff. And I was like, this is odd.
Wait, what do you mean argue with you?
I don't even know how to describe it.
weird.
Like get your opinion on something?
Yeah, but like I would like say something and he was just being a pick me.
I totally
No,
get
he
it.
was just being so annoying. I don't even remember exactly what it was or like how to describe it, but I just remember sitting there and being like,
I thought a
literally
pick me
wanna
was
hang
somebody
up
who
the phone
just
right now. This is the
affirmed
worst
whatever you
phone call I've
said,
ever had. Like,
and
this is
instead of
so weird.
sticking up for their
It
own
was so
opinion.
off. And
I'm
I was like,
confused,
okay,
but she
I do
says
not wanna
he's
talk to you
fighting with
anymore.
her
So I
about
was
stuff.
like, okay, I gotta go. And then I just never responded to his text again.
You ghosted.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then
Okay, I'm sorry.
long story short,
Ghosting
my
ain't the way to
parents
handle it. Just
own,
say,
like,
hey,
condo,
love
like,
talking to you the
right
past couple of days. I don't see this going anywhere romantically. And so I'm looking for a husband at this point in my life. So wish you the best. Thanks so much for your investment. And let me know if you need, matched up with anybody. I'd be happy to do it. And then end it there or something. Because like you can't just drag it on and on and on and on. And then ghosting somebody is just not the way to,
So we run into each other.
it's not the mature way to handle a situation.
We like kind of started talking, and then basically he takes me on a date.
He asked you on a date.
Wait.
Yes.
I thought things went.
It was just a weird phone call, and I was like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. But it like wasn't that deep. It wasn't like whatever. So then we like
But then
kinda
the
started,
vibes were right when you
So then
met.
she went out with
I
him?
guess like they were fine. Like he was just, it was kind of like small talk,
Yeah.
and like nothing was really like wrong. But also this was like maybe like a year after. This was
Oh,
like
really?
Yeah, or like
wow.
6 months. It was like a long time after that random phone call that I was like, weird. Okay, I'm gonna hang up. Then so he takes me on this date, and it's like chill. Like it was fun. Like it was fine. Like we just like got tacos and like talked. And also I kind of just wanted to go because I hadn't been on a date in so long that I was like, this is kind of fun, like going on a date. And I
like see this. I don't think I this I don't see anything wrong with. If she hasn't dated, if she hasn't actually stepped across the line into a dating relationship with this guy, if she's just going out with him, I think that's great. Like that's how you get to meet people and how you get to figure out whether or not you can stick around for the long haul and marry them. But it's when there's a huge difference between doing what she's describing now and starting committed or dating relationships with people. If you actually label it and step into a committed a boundary, and you don't know whether you can stick around, that's when it's harmful to everybody involved.
Did he initially ask you why you ghosted?
no.
Okay, that's good.
I don't think so.
So that was why you ended things. It just kind of fizzled.
Yeah, and I think I just didn't actually like him. I just went on the date kind of for fun.
This is hard.
Okay,
I low-key
that's weird. Why would you go on a date just for fun? Like you should at least be interested in the person. I feel like you shouldn't just go on a date with somebody randomly, which I'm not shouting from a high horse here because I have done that, but I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think that's a good idea to just go out on a date with somebody if you know you're not interested.
Agree on that?
I think we agree on that.
I mean, Pilot Pete sounds like a nice guy going to the Bahamas and stuff.
Yeah.
but
I don't have a
wrong
personal
for you.
experience with him. I don't even remember what he looks like.
yeah, the
Right.
best we could do is put him middle of the road, I feel like.
Yeah.
Okay, so in last place is Flower.
Yeah, and not because I think he's cool. Like I just don't know anything about him now,
But
and
also
it
he
wasn't
was
really
like
a thing.
12.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to say that's the guy she met when she was like 12, so we can't really count that. And again, that one I'm not so mad about. It's just she didn't actually enter a committed relationship with that guy. She didn't step across the line with him in that way. There was no DTR. There was no define the relationship. That was just a guy she was interested in when she was 12 and she had a crush on. Which like that's going to happen again. Back to my public school thing. It's totally natural, and I think it's good that kids should see that as normal, and that should be the normative culture for boys and girls to be interested in each other at a young age. But I don't think that they unless they know how to do it, I don't think that they should get serious about things.
On board. Good work.
Okay,
Good
now
work,
let's
everyone.
get into the juicy juice.
Okay.
So your
wish I had a
exes in the
soundboard
past,
like that.
let's
That'd be
leave them in
cool.
the past. Amen.
Actually, I do,
will.
but it's too hard to use.
So
I
let's go on
need
to
like
the
a-
boyfriend submission.
I need an editor for you guys to like when I'm talking. If I want a soundboard, I don't want to have to click like
Pause real quick.
to like put my own sounds in there. I want somebody else to do it for me.
Loving and living for this episode.
Oh my gosh, I'm a full producer with my laptop.
Yeah.
It's a really good time.
One thing I will say is Jess was born to interview.
Oh my gosh.
You're a good interviewer. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm going to do this in 2 rounds. So I cut like over 100 applications down to 5.
That's kind of insane.
Oh,
Really
this is the
insane.
section where they're actually going to like this Jess and Gabe have like a huge YouTube following, so they're going to try and set Sofia up with some guy based on the interviews that these guys have sent in. So we won't go into that episode, but I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode altogether. I've really liked doing it. Hope it's been funny. I was certainly triggered, so I hope you found that entertaining. And I hope you actually gleaned some wisdom, hopefully, from it as well. Just like look before you leave, guys, and don't enter committed relationships with people if you don't know if you can actually stick around or not. Like, don't enter the dating relationship, the boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, the marriage pursuit relationship unless you actually are confident in not only your ability to stick around, but also your partner's. Like you have to match each other in interest, commitment, and investment level. Otherwise, this relationship ain't going to go the distance and somebody going to get their heart broke. And so that's kind of the main point of the episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed that. Don't treat relationships like dating relationships, serious dating relationships like ice cream sampling. Don't just walk into the store and start trying out different guys in the context of serious relationships. You can get to know different guys in the context of dating. And you can get to know different girls in the context of dates. You can ask out different girls in the context of dates, but please don't just enter serious, committed, defined relationships and then bail. Especially, please don't use the excuse that God's telling me to leave. Like, sweetheart, ask God before you enter the relationship. That's wisdom. You don't ask God after you do something. You ask him before. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Reach out and let me know what you thought of it through the link in the show notes. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Again, nothing against the people on here. And actually, I thought it was really funny. And the whole video is a really good idea. She sat down and interviewed somebody about her. I don't know why they called them exes, though. I think it was just for the title, maybe. Because, again, she didn't start dating all these people, which is, I think, the comforting part here. Like, I've been on dates with lots of people, but I haven't jumped into defined relationships with lots of people because I think that would be wrong. And even some of the ones I did jump into, I think were wrong, and I regret it, and I'm very sorry I did it. And I just want you guys to hopefully not make the same mistake. So thanks for listening. Reach out, let me know what you thought of the episode through the link in the show notes. Actually, it's not there anymore. Take that back. Send me a message on Facebook and Instagram. Would love to hear from you guys there as well, and connect with you there. Thank you guys so much, and I will talk to you next time.